Hi, welcome to Module 5, Agile Frameworks and Practices. I'm Dr. Prabhakar Gantasala, Associate Dean, School of Business, Southern Connecticut State University. Moving on, let's discuss the learning objectives for this module. We'll quickly look at mastering core Agile frameworks that Agile leaders must be aware of and can actually utilize while creating the possible visionary changes and transformational effects in their organization. We'll also discuss in this module the important agile tools that can be implemented effectively so as to make sure that the organizations become sustainable, stay competitive, and are also resilient. So, with that little introduction, let's move on and figure out what are the core agile frameworks, and then we'll eventually look at all the agile tools that agile leaders can utilize. Agile methodology overview. You have several ways of looking at what you want to do in terms of agile frameworks. Scrum is a possible way of looking at how do we implement agile tools or agile frameworks within the organization. Scrum itself is a project management framework that helps teams work together to solve complex problems. You have to understand that Scrum uses time blocks to develop solutions rather than upfront planning and analysis. Scrum also ensures that there is an encouragement of self organization. Scrum practices allow teams to learn from experience, adapt to change, and self manage. Teams are capable of understanding how they can organize themselves. They use a set of values, including the level of commitment, also the value of learning, courage, focus, openness, and respect to teamwork and individual brilliance. It involves plenty of meetings, tools, and roles. Scrum describes a set of meetings, tools, and roles for efficient project delivery. It's also often used by software development teams. Scrum is most frequently used by software development teams, but its principles can be applied to all kinds of teamwork, including manufacturing or service industry as well. So Scrum can be used as a project management framework that helps teams work together to solve extremely complex problems. When faced with volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, Scrum could be a framework that can come really handy to be able to manage what we call as agile methodologies or agile frameworks to make sure that companies can react to these uncertainties in the business environment and can stay sustainable and competitive. Another framework that can be used to manage this kind of uncertainty in the business environment is Kanban. Now, it's a visual tool that helps teams manage their workflows and optimize efficiency. The key is that Kanban focuses on creating workflows and also optimizing efficiencies of work teams. And it's based on a visual tool. It originated from the automobile manufacturing company Toyota that used it for Toyota production systems and also DevOps practices. What does Kanban entail? It breaks down work into smaller tasks, visualizes tasks on a Kanban board, helps also teams manage the flow of work through their systems, helps teams focus on getting work done faster. So obviously, these are important elements that Kanban addresses. And the classical example that I just said is the Toyota's production system. Flow optimization is something that also is a framework to ensure that companies can do a great job while operating in a very uncertain, volatile environment. Now, flow optimization improves efficiency and speed of process by minimizing delays, eliminating bottlenecks, and also reducing waste. So the key focus points on flow optimization is on the value stream, identifying all steps in the process, eliminating unnecessary activities in the value chain that don't add value to the finished product. That kind of focuses on the value stream, making it more efficient, reducing cycle time. It's also aiming to decrease the time it takes for a single unit of work to be completed from start to finish. So, Kanban and flow optimization ensures that there is greater efficiency in the system itself, minimizing work in progress, the WIP that we call it as. So it limits the number of tasks being worked on simultaneously to prevent overload and bottlenecks. And then we can also have pull systems where work is pulled through the system based on actual demand rather than pushing work through based on assumptions. So that's what we talk about flow optimization that improves efficiency, speed of processing by minimizing delays, reducing or removal of bottlenecks, and also reduction of waste in the process itself. As a YouTube video that I would suggest strongly is for you to actually do a video watching on agile methods that are compared. And it's a very good video that I strongly recommend for you to watch. Let's go a little bit deeper into Scrum and figure out what happens in Scrum itself. First and foremost, there are different roles. The Scrum Master, a professional who leads a team through a project using agile project management techniques. There's a product owner, and there's also a team. So obviously there are these roles that individuals and teams play in a Scrum framework. It's a project management framework that helps teams work together to solve extremely complex problems. They encourage self-organization. So individuals and teams having the right set of skills can come together to tackle a complex problem. They have set values of commitment, courage, focus, openness, and respect. They also involve a lot of meetings and tools and roles so that they can efficiently manage different activities of the project, make sure they can deliver on time. It's also often used by manufacturing, and not just manufacturing, by software development companies that have to work on certain elements while they report out to clients. And that's what happens when you talk about roles. Events, daily stand up meetings happen, reviews happen, retrospectives are a normal occurrence as part of Scrum activities. The artifacts, product backlog, sprint backlog, there's a lot going on in terms of looking at outcomes, impactful product improvements, or service delivery options. These are all stuff that are measured using metrics and to see if this particular framework called Scrum is actually working to serve customers and clients better, improve efficiency, and these are all self-organized. The levels of motivation is there. A recommended video, Scrum in Practice by scrum.org, is available on YouTube channel, and I would strongly recommend for you to watch it so that you better understand what Scrum framework means in terms of agile leadership. Kanban implementation, we can go a little bit more and discuss Kanban for our own benefit to see how Kanban actually is helpful. So obviously, it's a visualization tool to see how work is being managed and how workflow is being processed and how workflow can lead to optimizing efficiency. It actually originated from Toyota Production System, as we just discussed, and it's a visualization tool to see how work is happening and to focus on the most valuable tasks and help teams to improve continuously. So the first and foremost thing is the visualization part. All work items are tracked. There are bottlenecks that are identified early in the process itself. And then the second element that what we call is work in progress limits. Obviously, we just discussed about flow optimization, also managing capacity or building capacity that's required to make sure work in progress is not inhibited, it's not interrupted. That smooth flow of work is possible because you have created capacities in support of it. You're also monitoring flow of work and to ensure that bottlenecks are removed or waste has been reduced. And continuous flow, delivery optimization, that's a part of Kanban and continuous improvement. And like Netflix content pipeline, where continuous feedback is taken to ensure that content is contemporary, it actually serves customers' needs, and customers are happy with the content and they're completely satisfied. There's a recommended video that I would suggest for all of you to watch is Kanban Fundamentals, and it's Lean Kanban that's produced it. It's a very strong video that can support your understanding of Kanban. And part of the continuous flow is also queue management. So when you understand that organizations are made of processes, You want to make sure that there is less amount of waiting time. The, the queue management of activities and tasks is done efficiently. You reduce cycle time as well, right from, say, manufacturing to packaging to warehousing to order taking and transportation and delivery and after sales service. You want to make sure the flow of work is really optimized in ways that the queue management is strong. There's also another framework for agile leadership and agile management. It's called the SAFE network. Again, a very important aspect is a set of guidelines for implementing agile practices across large organizations. So it's designed to help big companies scale up agile practices beyond just individual teams. So it can be at different levels. When you talk about SAFE framework, it could be at the portfolio level where there is strategic alignment, investment decisions for the entire portfolio of products or services that a company actually manufactures or does business in. Then you could have a safe framework at a program level where you talk about release planning and program execution. Like, for example, a company is creating a software for a client. You always have to plan for release planning and also program execution, maintenance, debugging, and stuff like that. Also, what does SAFe do? It helps organization design better systems and software. It also promotes collaboration, alignment, and delivery across a large number of teams. It helps companies stay on track and meet standards throughout a project that's been implemented for a client. It helps these companies manage challenges associated with implementing agile practices. And the SAFe, also is based on how to plan and manage work, values to uphold, and organizational workflow patterns. These are elements that are being focused on. SAFe is especially useful for large-scale enterprise teams that work on complex long-term projects. It's widely used in defense, automotives, aerospace industries as well. And the example that a team level example that's quoted here is Capital One's agile teams that are made of cross-functional groups of employees, including developers, designers, programmers, product owners, who utilize agile methodology to develop software, iteratively work on fine tweaking the software itself, and in ways that are collaborative, deliver the working product in short cycles, allowing for rapid feedback and adaptation to changing needs of the client. So there's that sprint execution that's extremely important at a team level where project teams work on specific client requirements, create the softwares, incorporate their feedback, and work collaboratively with the client and shorten the product life cycle, allow for offering a finished software product, helping them execute the project implementation or software implementation itself by incorporating the feedback and also adapting to the changing needs of the client based on what they see fit for themselves. So that's about the SAFe framework, which means that these are agile frameworks, which are guidelines for implementing all agile practices across large scale organizations which do multiple projects at the same time, perhaps across the globe as well. So that's about safe frameworks. What possibly could be agile tools for leaders? There's plenty of tools that are available. Now, again, this is not an exhaustive list that's listed out here. That only suggested some tools that are here for our discussion, like continuous improvement. Again, every organization that wants to succeed has to be working on continuous improvement of its processes, of its ability to understand customers, also its ability to understand client requirements and their needs, have a better market sense, and improve continuously, both in product design or service design, towards manufacturing, towards assembly, or towards incorporating feedback from customers or clients, and then making sure the finished product really has a user interface which adds value. The second aspect of tools for an agile leader is team learning. We have talked through all the modules that we have discussed so far. Team learning is extremely important, and therefore, team learning is a key to any kind of agile tools that leaders might have to use while planning for transformative changes within the organization. The next tool that agile leaders can follow is sprint planning, wherein sprint planning is a crucial event within agile methodologies, specifically to Scrum, where a development team collaboratively decides which tasks from the product backlog that they'll work on during the next sprint. So it's able to identify the most important high priority tasks and figuring it out whether the team will focus on specific tasks during the next sprint. They define the scope and plan for that upcoming time boxed period of development, ensuring everyone is aligned on the sprint itself, on a specific goal, and how do we achieve that. Essentially, it's the process of planning what work will be done in the next sprint and how it will be accomplished by the team itself. The purpose is to set a clear direction and expectations for the upcoming sprint by selecting relevant product backlog items and breaking them down into simple management tasks, having a time frame set up, creating those priorities, very important. Also knowing sure what resources are required, what capacity allocation is required to get the task done. So identifying the most valuable product backlog items to focus on, setting a sprint goal to guide the work, estimating effort required for each task to be completed, discussing potential challenges and bottlenecks, and dependencies that might have to be addressed, and also creating a sprint backlog which outlines the committed work for the sprint itself. So creating those capacities, prioritizing work, getting the job done in the next sprint is what is integral to sprint planning. The third agile tool for leaders is daily stand-ups, where status alignment, obstacle removal, these are stuff that are discussed. Rollout strategies, those are discussed as daily stand-ups, where you take feedback. You also ensure that organizational members know what exactly is expected of them. So daily stand-ups are short meetings where teams share updates and discuss blockers. They're a common part of agile methodologies and are often used by software development teams as well. The purpose is for sharing updates. Team members share what they've done already and what they plan to do and what's blocking them, what are the bottlenecks. They identify these blockers and specific team members discuss what's preventing them from making progress. Then also they have a chance in these daily stand-ups to align on goals. Team members coordinate next steps and ensure everyone is on the same page. And during these daily stand-ups, they foster a sense of collaboration. Team members work together to identify and solve problems. The structure generally is daily stand-ups are usually limited to 15 to 20 minutes each time. The questions that are asked are shared by team members, use a set of questions to guide very pointed discussion. The order teams typically answer the questions in a specific order. So obviously they have a clear pathway. The benefits obviously means that daily stand-up help teams to stay agile and to adapt to changing circumstances. They reinforce the self-organizing nature of Scrum teams, and also they help teams stay connected and informed and be able to deliver on time. So these are certain agile tools that leaders can utilize while their organization faces a very turbulent, uncertain kind of environment. A couple of videos strongly recommend to watch them is Agile Leadership Tools, which I just did mention before, Agile Implementation Workshop, another video, both available on YouTube. I would strongly recommend for you to watch them to get better sense, a deeper sense of all the agile tools that leaders can utilize as they lead their organization. How do we measure success when we implement these agile frameworks? So the key metrics could be vary from the delivery metrics. How quickly are we able to deliver on the projects or softwares or stuff that we have developed for our customers or clients? The velocity tracking is a great tool, a great metric to see, right from first discussion, ideation phase to actual product development or software development, and the execution phase as well, and providing this support system for a client. Cycle time, that's exactly what we plan to do. If we are able to, as an organization, reduce the cycle time, that's a very important metric to say, are we fast enough? Are we agile enough? the lead time that we take for processing a request, or processing a change, or an adaptation that has to be made. If we can reduce the lead time, again, it showcases that we as an organization are an agile organization. And the second type of metrics that actually measure agile success is quality metrics. So we don't want to simply do things quick and fast, which is important and which is part of delivery metrics, but we also want to make sure we maintain utmost quality. That means the defect rates have to be extremely low, technical debt should not be there, customer satisfaction should be extremely high, and these are important quality metrics that organizations can track and trace to say if they have been successful in terms of implementing agile practices. Team practices, the level of team happiness that's there, the morale and the motivation, the cohesiveness that the teams have, innovation rate, how quickly are employees and team members able to generate ideas and work on these ideas. Like, say, for example, we discussed in a previous module the example of 3M, where there are hundreds and thousands of teams that work on independent projects. 3M provides them 15% of the time to work on these specific innovative projects. 3M also provides them resources in support of their creative ideas, and that will actually determine how many new product ideas, new product developments, new features embedded into existing products that the 3M can generate each year. And if you had a chance to visit 3M's website, you will easily find out that 3M has hundreds and thousands of patents that they have, which clearly shows that their innovation rate is really at a high level. But it's also sustainable. That's the key of 3M's success, that they're able to sustain the pace of innovation. I would strongly recommend a video on collaboration level, which is Agile Metrics That Matter. It's available on YouTube and authored by Jeff Sutherland. What are the common challenges that one might face while implementing these agile tools or frameworks? The first one is framework rigidity. So obviously, when you're using a specific framework, the framework itself can be sometimes rigid, sometimes doesn't offer flexibility. And a possible solution as an agile leader, you have to think outside the box, is to look at what kind of adaptations that you can use to a specific framework. So whether it's Kanban or whether it's Scrum, you might want to ask yourself, can we adapt a little bit that those adaptations that make it relevant for our company, for our situation currently, and that overcomes the problem of framework rigidity. The challenge number two is when you have scaling issues. If you have a measure of success in a particular team, if you have a level of success in a particular business, can we scale it into other departments, other product lines, or other businesses of the same organization? And scaling sometimes can be hard if you try and do all the scaling at once. So the solution should be incremental scaling. If, as an agile leader, you have to pay attention to the pace at which certain agile frameworks and solutions and tools can be implemented. And if you take pains to understand, observe, orient, then decide and act and create incremental scaling, you have a very good chance as an agile leader to be successful in implementing those changes, not just in one department to begin with, but incrementally you can implement it across the entire organization. So incremental scaling is a classical solution for a scaling issue or a challenge of scaling issues that can happen in any organization. Challenge number three is what we call cultural resistance. I'm sure you have the experience of working in several organizations, and you must have noticed cultural resistance as being the biggest challenge when you have to implement any kind of agile framework, or you have to start implementing agile tools to make your organization more efficient and also be able to sustain competitive advantage and make it more sustainable and resilient. So change management techniques have to be utilized. Managing resistance to change is important. Creating a set of shared values, beliefs, assumptions, artifacts, that's very important. Creating success stories that people can share. Creating those kind of visuals and symbols that reinforce a cultural change in support of innovation, in support of learning is required. If you did that, and if you manage change, and if you create the kind of acceptance amongst employees that the change is the only constant, change is a way of life, and change is good for both the organization and its stakeholders, you have a better chance of managing the challenge number three, which is cultural resistance. I would strongly recommend for you to watch the video Agile Framework Summary, Scaled Agile. It's available on YouTube, where you have some of these challenges and the kind of solutions that you can utilize to overcome these challenges. Additional resources that are available in support of this particular module is Essential Scrum, a good reading by Kenneth Rubin, Leading Safe Agile Frameworks by Dean Leffingwell, online courses, Coursera, Agile Development, Specialization. edX has a course on implementing safe, as a framework, and Scrum Alliance as a community has a lot of reading that can be useful for you while you understand how to implement the right agile frameworks and utilize the right agile tools while making your organization an agile organization. Thank you.